So, whirling is super fun. And probably if you've been watching my videos, you'll notice I whirl a lot. And you'll also notice that I do sometimes some circular stepping where I go in a big circle like this. And there's two very specific kinds of stepping that I do for each one of those. And in both cases, it takes a bit of practice and it takes a bit of muscle memory development. So we're going to go through both, and I'll show you how they work. And you just need to kind of bear with it and trust that if you practice, you will stop getting dizzy. And there's a couple of tricks to that that we'll explain at the end. But let's start with the stationary whirling. It's very special stepping. And there's a lot of ways to do this, but I'm going to show you a specific way to whirl that was taught to me by the whirling dervishes, kind of a branch of Sufism. Rumi, a great mystic poet, apparently was one of the founders of the whirling dervishes, and they believe that if you just whirl for long enough, you eventually become one with the divine. So they wear these amazing robes and hats, and they just whirl, and they go into a trance, and eventually they trance out until they unite, which I'm working on, but for now it's really cool for play. And it was neat, when I learned this, the guy who taught the class actually did it entirely non-verbally, which is really a pretty cool learning experience. So he had us start here, feet parallel, and then your right foot goes heel to toe to make a T. So that just means the heel lands first, you pivot inwards, your feet are in a T, and then the left foot, the heel lifts, and you're parallel again. So the right foot steps, heel to toe, left foot pivots, heel to toe, pivot. You need to play with that for a little while for that to start becoming natural, to get a sense of how far you take your heel to make that T, and where it's going to be so that when you pivot your left foot, you're going to be parallel again. Parallel, step, parallel, step, parallel, step, parallel, step, until you're just walking in a circle. And eventually you kind of relax into it. And you kind of find a bit of a flow. When that's working, when you feel like you're finding the pattern, eventually you just step a little further. So instead of stepping here to make a T, you step right across your front toes. So I step all the way to here. What happens is my right foot's going to do, it's going to pivot on the heel 180 to fall there. And while it's pivoting on the heel, the left foot's going to pivot on the toe. Boom. So again, I hit parallel, but it's been a 180 turn. So the heel crosses, turn. The heel crosses, turn. So it's always the right toes are in the air, the left heel is in the air, boom. With a little practice, that starts flowing. Right? And again, this takes a bit of muscle memory to do that. And a hint, by the way, whenever you're whirling, if you go this way for a while, when you stop, you'll be dizzy. But if you keep your head really stable and you do one turn the other way, it'll just straighten you right back out. And you'll see figure skaters do that when they're performing. And when you really start getting used to it, you can ultimately extend that into complete pirouettes, where you start going step, 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 step. It's the same idea. It's your right foot pushing. It's like you're on a skateboard. Your left foot's just lifting the heel to pivot on the ball of the left foot. But each push takes you back to where you started. So you start going turn, and turn, and turn, and turn. If you take the time to find anything that's consistent and to really build some muscle memory of that consistency, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, 1. Start having a bit of consistency in everything. You know that your stepping is going to be repetitive and consistent, and then you can just work on turn and 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 turn. turn. And it's great to be able to do doubles in this instance because you can actually use the stepping to go with the pattern. And that kind of helps bring the rhythm into the pattern and helps stabilize the pattern. And that applies to anything. Like say you're doing in spin, turn. Wait, let's see. Turn and 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 turn. Turn. You can really bring it into how you're learning patterns. Another kind of stepping, which is where you cover space. So lay your poi down, make a box. Perfect, about wide step, a little wider than your hips. And you're standing at the back two handles, so you're looking into the box. Your right foot, you're just going to step over diagonally, and you're going to look at this poi. So you're facing out of the box. Left foot's going to step back, so you're facing into the box. Right foot steps again, out of the box, into the box. So you're always turning towards your left shoulder, and you're kind of going around the box clockwise. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, or the other way, left, right, oops. Left, right, left, right, left, right. And then you kind of can expand that to bigger and bigger circles. So for instance, that was a square. You have maybe an octagon. So I'm facing out of the box. I'm facing square at a wall. My left foot steps back, and it's always this feeling of falling. So I kind of fall a bit, boom. And I've come an eighth of the way. I'm now straddling the center. So I'm facing straight into the center. My right foot steps over. I'm facing the outer wall. I'm facing this side, facing the center again. So whenever I'm square with the wall, I'm facing the wall. When I'm on a diagonal in between, I'm facing the center. So I go wall, center, wall, center, wall, center, wall, center, wall, center, wall. Same thing. You take a bit of time to develop a bit of flow with that, and pretty soon you can just get this feeling of you're kind of falling. Wall, and wall, and wall, and wall, and wall. Or you can go center, and center, and center, and center, and center. It's hard to do both. I find either I'm focusing on the outer wall or the center. And the difference tends to be if I'm thinking about my audience or a partner I'm dancing with. If I'm thinking about my audience, I'm focusing outwards because that's where my audience is. And I'm going audience and audience and audience and audience and audience. If I've got a partner, I'm going to think partner, 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 partner. I'm spotting them. Typically, usually the way I step, I open it up even a little further, where I'm more out here, and it's actually more like a 16-step. The way when I was first really playing with this, as I whirl, I'm spotting, say, outwards at first, and I'm spotting the wall, the corner, the wall, the corner, the wall, the corner, the wall. Right? Wall, corner, wall, corner, wall, corner. And that's because if you're performing, you can go around a big circle. Often you're in the round when you're performing with LED or fire. And everywhere you look, you're spotting your audience perfectly. So at any point in time, you can stop. And you're really performing for whoever you're looking at. Right? So it's a great way to cover ground. If you've got a partner, you don't need to worry as much about, say, these lines, because all you need to do is every time you see each other, you kind of try to go like this, kind of like you're going to hug each other from a distance. And there's a bunch of different patterns you can be making with the poi, but we both go counterclockwise. All right. Okay, so it'll be on 3. 1, 2, 3. Spot, and spot, and spot. Yeah, spot, 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 spot. And so you can get a couple of people whirling around each other. Every time you end up here, you want to be really parallel and really facing each other. And you want to be at the same distance. So you go step and straddle. Yeah. Step and straddle, and then do 2. Step and straddle, and step and... That's great. What I recommend in not getting dizzy, basically 2 things. One is it helps... 2 ways to approach it. One is spotting, where say every time my head tries to stay as long as it can, on the same spot. Right? That's a good way to stay oriented. Or as you're turning, it's kind of what the dervishes do, is you want to kind of pick something in the corner of your eye almost. So as you're spinning, say I'm looking kind of at my thumb, I'm trying to get my chin up. So my head is staying very stable. So I can turn and turn and turn. And I'm just picking a point, and actually it looks like my hand is stable, the world is spinning around my hand. Whether you're spotting something in the distance or spotting something on your body, when you stop, you'll be really dizzy. If you've kept your head stable, and then you do one in the opposite direction, that really quickly restores you, and then you're back to not being dizzy. And beyond that, it's kind of practice.